Hey folks. Hey, there was a lot of chatter about Meshtastic leading up to Hamvention. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes after the fact and tell you guys about my experience with Meshtastic and also share with you a little upgrade that I've done to my kit since returning back. So what was the Meshtastic experience like this year? It was a blast. First of all, there were nodes everywhere, easily over 100 nodes. There were times whenever I looked at my app and there were 120, 140 nodes. We experimented. We had MQTT turned on at certain points. We had it turned off at other points. We had a repeater that was at Jason's trailer, Ham Radio 2.0. He had that up on a mast, maybe 25, 30 feet in the air. So we were getting all kinds of nodes visible within the app. I had put out a short at one point about just the density of Meshtastic nodes around Xenia proper. It was awesome. The other thing that I thought was an interesting data point is, first of all, we had the standard long fast room. And then we also had a tubers room, which was widely disseminated. Josh had created a QR code and widely disseminated that room. So we had lots of folks that were in that room as well. And what I thought was really interesting and is maybe the telltale data point is the fact that there were a couple of vendors at Hamvention who actually were advertising in those different rooms, saying, hey, if you need some AC, come on over to our booth. Hey, if you're looking for these Motorola radio shells, come on over to our booth. So I think the fact that some vendors picked up on this, saw that density, and tried to leverage that and take advantage of that tells you a lot of what you need to know in terms of, what that experience was like. It was really a good time. Now let me show you a little upgrade that I've done to my setup since returning home. I had made a couple of posts in a short or two about the fact that I got into this Meshtastic game way late, like 2 or 3 days prior to Hamvention. And I was in FOMO mode, so I just ordered a T-Beam to get it here in time and get it set up and hopefully be able to join in the fun. And that all worked out great. However, I was not able to get a case. Most of these cases are 3D printed and a lot of them are sold on Etsy. And those folks are looking for, 3 to 5 days delivery time because in most cases they're printing these as they're needed. So I took the little case that came, that my T-Beam came in, and I turned that into the case that I would actually use the device with. I added a little tape to the backside here because I wasn't sure how well that hinge would hold up. I had this on my backpack, and I thought if it rained, it would puddle on the top, and maybe this would help keep the water out. You can see I went ahead and I drilled a hole that the SMA connector would fit through. I had a little grommet that I would put on the antenna between the case and the antenna to keep any water out. And then I've got my Le Mans golf-inspired racing stripe here on the side. So I had this lashed to my backpack using some Mastrant guying cable. And, now that I've got a real case, I've been able to recover that space here on my backpack. This is exactly where I had that. And now I've got this very snazzy new case that is a 3D printed case. It's a 3-piece 3D printed case that accommodates the T-Beam, not the T-Beam Supreme, but the T-Beam very well. SpecFive is who prints this, and I'll put links to where you can pick these up. He's down in the Austin area, which is very cool. It's got some excellent buttons here. It's got a space so you can get in and either connect a serial, the USB port for serial console, or to charge the battery. And it also has some other cool features. Let me pull it off the bag here so you can see what those features are. So as I mentioned, this is made by an outfit called SpecFive on Etsy. It's got a port here for your T Beam SMA antenna. It's got some really well-designed buttons that work fantastically. I mean, these things are spot on. This thing has a belt clip that would put many HT clips to shame. I mean, this thing is stout. It is sturdy, and it's not going to cause you any concerns in terms of being able to keep on your belt or wherever you're able to slide that through. This is also very cool. You can see the separate color here. I'm going to try to work this out with one hand. This has a little kickstand, right? So how cool is that? So you got a little kickstand so you can stand your radio up. Don't have to worry about it rolling around or flopping around. But the other thing that's really cool, if you take a peek in here, you can see that there's a magnet in the case and here on the kickstand. So when this thing gets a little use and may tend to get floppy, that thing's not going to go anywhere. It's a super nice and tight fit right now, but you guys know how this stuff will work, right? As that wears a little bit, that could get floppy, that could get annoying. But with that magnet keeper in there, you don't have those concerns at all. So this, I feel like I've went from, the Skid Row case to, the Madison Avenue bougie case here. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, show you some of the options that are out there. There's lots of STL files out there that you can print, but I had not seen one necessarily like this, and this is probably the coolest case that I have seen. Now, SpecFive folks did send out a little metal carabiner. I replaced it with this plastic one here. It's not as noisy, and it's about the same size. So they do ship it with all the hardware that you need. There's 4 screws. They send an extra screw to actually put the radio in this center carrier piece, and then you've got your little Allen nuts and bolts to secure the top onto the case. Well, there you have it. Meshtastic was a great addition to Hamvention. There was no real utility for these radios. It was really more about fun, and it was a lot of fun. I'm sure you'll be hearing some more about Meshtastic. It feels like, even though this has been around for a while, it's starting to have a moment. And, I hope that's the case. It's a lot of fun. To me, it's like the most fun you can have for 25 bucks in radio. So there you have it. And until next time, 7-3.